It's a Saturday morning, and you know what to do. We kokota piano, and we have South African music producer and DJ Tumelo Manyoni, popularly known as Jazziq, who is back with his highly anticipated album, All You Need Is Piano 2. He released the album that takes listeners on a musical journey filled with soulful melodies, infectious beats, and of course, the mesmerising sounds of Amapiano. He carefully composed this album with the sole purpose of introducing other sub-genres of his popular South African genre. He joins us now in studio to tell us more about his latest offering. Jazziq, very good morning, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning to you guys.
Good to have you. Good to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about the inspiration behind All You Need Is Piano 2. What's that about?
All You Need Is Piano 2 was inspired a lot by, also because I was so, from the past year, I was traveling so much, you know, so I also got exposed to a whole lot of other different sounds, as well as being able to also understand what we could give as an offering, you know, besides what we already have. Because if we need to actually get the sound to travel as far as however, we need to obviously fit 1, 2, and 3 here and there, but obviously make the sound live for much more.
Sure. Have you approached this particular project differently from the other? I mean, from the previous work. I mean, is it any different? Have you added any different influences in this one?
Well, I've added a bit of other, you know, elements, because with this one I wanted to make it very different from what we are obviously used to, you know, not just ordinary piano. So we went a bit dark, added a lot of more EDM stuff, so that we can also resonate with like the electronic dance music people, just get the sounds to also resonate with what we actually are pushing, you know. With the whole Halloween theme, it was based also around the time of the drop, you know. Yeah, around the time of the drop, it was Halloween time. So it just like, it only makes sense for us to work around that type of setup, you know. Got you.
Let's talk about the process of composing and arranging the tracks for this album.
So the process was, it was a bit different this time around, because I had not been in the studio for quite some time. I was just focusing on some other businesses. And me going back into the studio this time, it was very exciting, because I knew the goal that I had and also what I wanted to achieve, and which was exactly that. It was tough. It was tough in selection, but at the end of the day, we got to that.
Let's talk about that goal. What is it that you wanted to achieve? And just looking back and listening to your work, would you safely say that you've really achieved what you set out to achieve?
Well, yes, I believe that I did. I feel like I'm not for the #1 spot anymore. And #1 comes with a lot.
What do you mean by that?
Sure.
Don't you all strive to be #1?
Nah, I don't. I've been #1. I'm good with that one. Now I'm making music because I love it. My goal of reaching #1 was there before I started this thing. And when I got into it, I ended up becoming #1. But everything else that comes with being #1 is a lot of hate, is a lot of this and that, because also don't forget, there's so many other people who want to be in the #1 spot.
But then don't you want to ignore all the other elements that come with being #1 and then focus on the main goal, which is being #1 all the time?
The main goal is that I know that I am #1. So I don't need to find.
So basically you're paving the way for other artists to become #1.
Yes.
How noble.
So now we can make other #1s. From the same way I've moved out from being the #1, I have PC and Justin who are pushing #1 right now.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So basically now you're only creating quality, not only focusing on the #1 spot.
Yeah. Now it's just main quality control. You must just make sure that everything that comes after Jazziq, out of Jazziq, is in the #1 spot.
Okay. No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Are there any standout moments or experiences that you want to share with us in the creation of All You Need Is Piano 2?
Yeah, I mean, when I was creating All You Need Is Piano 2 was during the time when I was actually working on opening my new restaurant, Vibes on Main, yeah. So it was during a tough time because I was also trying to focus on that part of the business, and then I also needed to make sure that the music gets done because now the peak season is also approaching, you know, and it's just like, bro, you haven't done anything.
Right.
So the pressure was just, it was overwhelming, but I had to find my way, push, work around it properly.
Yeah, I guess the trick is just to strike a balance between all those projects, eh?
Yeah.
And you did that very well. So how would you describe the overall sound and the atmosphere of this album?
So it's a much more dark, mysterious, scary movie kind of, because if you go through the project, you will find elements of darkness inside. Like, okay, you're watching a movie and it's just a scene where now people are scared of 1, 2, and 3, and you can reference some of those sounds in the day. Okay. Because we used Freddy versus Jason.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was that kind of setup, and then we did like a Mr Jazziq versus Tumelo, because also the offering is different. People, when they see Jazziq, they just scream out Tumelo.
Okay.
You know.
All right, Jazziq, lovely chatting to you, man. Enough with the talking. We just want to hear the sound.
We
are dying to hear the sound. All the best, man. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Great stuff. That was one of the pioneers of Amapiano, a genre that is also celebrated globally. That's Mr Jazziq talking to us about his latest offering, All You Need Piano 2, that is out on all the digital platforms.